在这个中间，是在这个中间，中间在那里，在那里，中间，中间这两个地方。啊啊 ，OK，
那你看那个很漂亮哈，那个亮亮的哈，那个 Magdalene 那个很漂亮，是不是？那远一点的有一个亮亮的那个，哈，那个就是那个
Okay.
俄国人建的。
Erected by Jesus, and he was living out here on the slopes of Mount Olive. So this Muslim neighborhood of Jerusalem today is carrying the name of a Jewish guy that was resurrected by Jesus 2,000 years ago. This is how it is. This is like time is of a different sort of completely different scale here. Like there is another village right over there. You see it behind the trees over there, the next hill. It's called Anata. Anata is carrying the name of Anatot. Anatot in the Bible is the village of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the prophet, that operated here in Jerusalem at the 6th century BC, at the time of the destruction of the first temple, was of this village. So this Palestinian Arab village is carrying the name of a Jewish village that was over here 2,600 years ago. And this is how it is throughout the country. The names of the current settlements or towns and villages, in many cases, would carry the name of biblical sites of the first temple time and of the second temple time, right? It's like very, very historical memories, very long here. Now this is the Judean desert. At the bottom, like of these hills, it's very hazy, so you can't really see it, but is the Jordan Valley. And on a good day, again, you have to trust me on this, you can also see from here the northern side of the Dead Sea. The other side of the valley is Jordan. So this gives you some idea about the size of the country. It's about 50 miles from here to the Mediterranean Sea. It's about 15 or maybe miles to the Jordan Valley. That's how wide the country is throughout, by the way. Israel, is very narrow, and we're going to drive through the Judean desert to get to the Dead Sea on Tuesday morning when we drive down there. Christian tradition, the St. Stephanus Gate. St. Stephanus is the first, so in Christian tradition it's St. Stephanus Gate. Down in the valley, right to our left, there is a structure there built into the valley, which is the, according to the Catholic Church, the burial site of Mary. Virgin Mary was buried there according to tradition, and then she was lifted up by Jesus, so it's an empty tomb, another empty tomb of Jerusalem. Right next to it is Gethsemane, the church that was built on the site where Jesus spent his last hours as a free man. Before, on Thursday night, after the Passover meal that took place on Mount Zion that we're going to visit, he went down to the Kidron and went out. It was all rural area back then, and Gethsemane was the site where he sort of spent his last hours as a free man, and this is where he was betrayed and was taken to captivity at the house of the high priest, which is at the slopes of Mount Zion as well. A little bit uphill is the Russian Orthodox Church of Mary Magdalene, and it's the burial site of the mother of the last Tsar, by the way. 1919 she was buried there. A little bit further uphill, this tear-shaped church of David. This is what we're going to visit on Monday afternoon. This is to our left. The very beginning of the city of Jerusalem is to our left right now. Climb up towards Mount Zion. Yeah, you have right here. When we get there, and a few steps this way. As we enter here, though, we can see the Roman street of the 2nd century. This is the original sort of pavement of the street. Over there, you can see a kind of a drawing or a painting that helps you bring it alive a little bit. But this is of the 2nd century CE. AD, okay? Like, yeah. We say, I mean, when you're speaking to a mixed sort of crowd of Jews, and you say it's the most neutral sort of common era, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be used.
Are we going to be close to the Wailing Wall?
We're getting there.
No, I mean, are we able to?
Right. We're going to talk a lot about the revolt of the Jews against the Romans in the year 66. They rebel against the Romans, okay, some 40 years after Jesus. Not that it had to do with, from their perspective, with Jesus, but they rebel against the Romans, and the Romans destroy the temple. They capture Jerusalem and destroy the temple. Very traumatic event in the life of the Jewish people. You're going to hear so much about it, you're going to be fed up with it. But 60 years later, there is another revolt. The Jews rebel again, time and again, time and again. And the Romans this time kick them out of Jerusalem altogether, and they're rebuilding Jerusalem as Ilia Capitolina, a Roman city, pagan city, and the footprint of the city today is pretty much, it was set by the Romans back in the 2nd century. We have one long stretch of a street, starting all the way on the northern side of Jerusalem, ending somewhere here, which is the Cardo, like the shopping street of the market street. This one is a secondary Cardo. It's a little bit to the east of the main Cardo that we're going to visit on Monday, and it's a little bit to the east. It's the secondary Cardo, and then we have some west to east streets that are the Decumano, and they form this sort of the eyes of the city, and this is pretty much the footprint of the city today. What happened though is that those very wide streets, actually boulevards in the Roman time, shopkeepers and vendors and people sort of start to push their way into the public space through the centuries, and now you're going to see the narrow alleys that we're going to maneuver through, and this is due to the fact that this was taken by people throughout history and sort of became their own private property. So we're going to walk in, take a few meters down to where these rocks are in the corner over there. So the Herodian street at the time of the temple started all the way down south by the main spring of the city, the Siloam spring, and it stretches all the way through here alongside the western wall all the way to the heart of the Muslim quarter of today. And this was the main sort of entrance to Temple Mountain back then, was from the west side. There were 4 entrances, 2 from the street level and staircases going through the mountain, and 2 in platforms that were built like bridges over the street. You can see this arch, or the stones of the foundations of the arch that went over the street, and then there was a platform taking you over here. And this platform took you to the Plaza level, straight to the Plaza level. All right? On the southern part, there were also 2 gates coming in and 2 gates coming out. You need to accommodate tens of thousands of people. You have to take care of all these issues. We're going to go straight.
And after Jesus is being captured and being brought here, St. Peter's is coming to see what's going on. And it's already very, very dangerous to be associated with Jesus. And when people are pointing to St. Peter's and say to him, "Aren't you with him? Aren't you? We saw it."
See the rooster?
And he says 3 times. He said, "No, I don't know the guy."